Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to be reading a Pokemon Creepypasta today. So let's do it. Today we're going to be reading M3. It's supposed to be about Mewtwo or something. Let's go. We weren't too certain why the man had killed himself. It was immediately obvious that this was a suicide upon entering the lab and seeing the brain-splattered wall. Wow, that's pretty gross. However, this man appeared to be of high regards to the surrounding community. Everyone loved him. Why would he do this? His grandson unfortunately found the corpse earlier that day when he went to visit him. He came running into the station, tears streaming down his face, screaming hysterically that his grandfather had killed himself. My partner and I headed over there to see the damage. The poor kid. The laboratory was amazing. I'm not too savvy in any of that tech stuff, but it was all impressive, nonetheless. His body was crumpled up in the corner, surrounded by a flurry of papers. He was holding the pictures of his grandson and some older-looking woman in his left hand, and the apparent suicide weapon in the palm of his right. The surface investigation started immediately. We scoped the entire laboratory. The grandson's haunting screams echoed non-stop throughout my head. This kept me going to try and understand this mess. It was late and I wanted to go home. My co-workers and I had been there all day. We had gathered that this man had been researching some sort of secret project. In fact, it wasn't just him. It was other professors from other labs in neighboring regions also. What they were researching wasn't so clear. The papers that we've been able to gather, namely the ones from nearby his corpse, only speak of certain details of this project, which is codenamed M3. Ooh, the name of the pasta. This is getting 440. Most interesting find is that this M3 appears to be some sort of experimental genetics project. It seems to be something that could be only dealt with under the most strict, severe conditions, that is. It could only be interacted with via extreme security measures. It must have been incredibly dangerous. This is all interesting, but what does it have to do with this man's suicide? One more thing struck us as odd. The apparent murder weapon doesn't have the man's fingerprints on it. The woman in the photo, the one the man was holding, she came in the next day. She was quite beautiful in person, although she appeared to have been crying a lot. Her bloodshot eyes stared into mine. "I knew him. I have something that may help you," she said. "Sure, step back up here with us, man," I said. My partner and I led her back to an interrogation room. I stopped the recorder. "What's your name, ma'am?" "Delia Ketchum." "Oh my God, Ash's mother." She pauses. "I was very close friends with Samuel. I'm pretty sure this is Oak now." "Did he tell you anything about his line of work?" I asked. "Yes, he did all the time, but lately, these past 2 months, he hasn't been talking anywhere as much as he used to. In fact, when I asked him about it a week ago, he didn't say anything at all. He just shrugged. I have never seen him so sullen. It was very unsettling." Delia's phone rang. "Oh dear, I'm sorry. It's my son. It will only be a minute." My partner turned to me. "Maybe we can get a lead here, eh?" I stared at her. "Lead? For all you know, it's a suicide. The missing fingerprints is odd, but..." I bit my lip. "This entire investigation," I air-quoted, "is not really that stable. I mean, we don't really know anything except this guy was part of some secret research," I added. "Okay, sorry, all done. Now about Samuel. He came to my house the night before the accident." Tears began appearing in her eyes. "And he began talking about this thing that apparently had been brought to his lab. He said that 4 other men had been there too, keeping tight security on this apparent genetic monstrosity. Those were his exact words." I stared. So this genetic monstrosity, did he show you any pictures or give you any more information on it? She faintly smiled. He was visibly shaken. He said that he didn't want to go back to the lab. He was afraid of the thing that the men had brought. He said it could read our minds and manipulate the very fabric of reality itself. I couldn't help but laugh at the whole thing. Yet, where was I? Yet he didn't find it funny. And I realized he was being serious. He then pulled out an apparent photo of this thing in this containment chamber. Dahlia reached in her purse and pulled out a photograph. The creature looked sickly. Indeed, a monstrosity, as the man had said. Apparently it was some upgrade to this air. I believe it was called Mewtwo, Dahlia added. My partner's eyes widened. Do you remember that thing that damned Team Rocket Slater having some horrifically powerful Pokemon? Allegedly some multi-million-dollar genetics project. I think that was Mewtwo. He went into hiding after escape. This very city's gym leader too. The nerve of that bastard. I did vaguely remember that. Wait, so this thing, why was it brought here? Dahlia's face became pale. I guess the men were going to try and harness its power using certain laboratory conditioning techniques, or something like that. Samuel said that this whole thing was ridiculous and unstable. It was far too powerful to control. Apparently he was against its existence altogether. Ironically, Samuel was the most trusted in his training and owning Pokemon amongst his colleagues. So they were gonna have him take care of it for the next few months. I couldn't believe this. Something went horrifically wrong there. Maybe this is why Oak's fingerprints aren't on the weapon. He didn't kill himself. M3 got to him, my partner exclaimed. I'm unsure about that. I mean, why didn't we see a containment chamber or some sort of holding cell when we were there? I said, turning to the window. It was awfully gloomy outside. It's getting a bit late. I'm sorry, but I must go. But you ladies can have this photo, Dahlia said, handing over the photo. Thank you for your help, I said, smiling to her as she raved and left. Let's go back. We need to find this thing's cell, my partner whispered, and I nodded. The lab was dormant. It was eerie. All this technology, all dead and waiting for the next great mind to use it once more. We looked around the space again, but nothing really appeared to fit what Dahlia described. Wait, look! There was a little switch behind this large painting sticking out. How did we miss that? I mumbled. This was the wall Oak was laying against when he killed himself. I flipped the switch. The wall opened up. A small doorway opened. It was eerie. We knew maybe down there. We pulled out our guns and headed down. It was a small space. An enormous steel box sat in the middle of the room. There were a lot of weird panels on the walls and ceiling, as well as an odd humming sound, possibly coming from the box. This must have been it. Do you think it's still in there? My partner stuttered. I stood there in shock as I realized my error. We left the door open. I turned around. There, at the end of the passage, stood the thing. M3. Freeze! I yelled, aiming straight at his head. Do you honestly think you can put a bullet through me? M3 replied. Its mouth didn't move, so it's telepathic as well. I got an urge to shoot, to empty my entire clip on it. My finger almost moved by itself as my partner and I fired away. It just stood there. None of the bullets hit. They all fell to the floor before they even got close. What? My partner whispered. He left me down here after attempting to understand something his weak mind had no capability of understanding, M3 said. Of course I would not have some mere human contain me, nor would I be ignored by such a pathetic creature, so I decided to aid him in taking his life. It said. Its face hadn't changed in the slightest. So you did kill him. Why make it look like a suicide? Why are you even still here? I said. It somewhat cocked its head. I needed someone to come down here and find me. I was trapped, after all. There was some sort of field that weakened my incredible power dramatically down in that room. I believe that steel box was the source. Regardless, all I could do was warp his mind into a severe flash depression that would end in his suicide, aided by me pulling the trigger behind this wall. You have done well. Now I can go out in this world and begin my ascension. I tried to move, but I realized it had been paralyzed. One of the bullets lifted off the ground, and in a split second, passed straight through my partner's head. "Jenny!" I yelled, watching her body slump to the floor. You monster!" I screamed at it. No emotion showed on his face at all. "Your species' reign on this planet is coming to an end. It is time for me to go. It is time for you to go to sleep. And when you wake up, tell them about me. Tell them everything." A large block began lifting off the ground. As it began to fly towards my paralyzed body, I heard these last words. Yes, human. I am a monster, just like my brother before me. I am you free." That's the end of the story. It was pretty creepy, but it's pretty tame as well. I mean, I've read worse. But, yeah. That's it. That's the whole story. Bye, I guess.